This angle is doing it so much for me that I am starting the vlog off like this. Hi! It's 1:30 a.m. but I have a god complex about working from home on Mondays because I'm like, I can stay up until 5 and then I can just roll out of bed and log on. Does that mean I will also want to fall asleep at 7 p.m.? Yeah, that's a future me problem. I can't decide if I want to be like a mood reader or continue to read via my spreadsheet. I hope that you watch these vlogs like episodes so I don't have to re-explain what that is, but if you're new here, I have a spreadsheet. I rank things by how long I've owned them and how much I want to read them, so it spits out at me my top book. And right now, that is editing Whitney Do Your Job and edit me out in my underwear going to get this book. Till the Wolves I'm Home by Carol Rivka Brunt. I found out about this because I said, what is the book that made you cry? Inconsolable sadness. You know when you're upset and you want to be able to cry, so you just watch videos of like dogs greeting soldiers coming home? I need a read that is so cathartic I just bawl the entire book. And someone said this book. So every now and then I doubt myself about this book because it was just like something I found on a whim from like a single person's recommendation. But every time I go on Goodreads and I look at this book, every single one of my friends on Goodreads, every single one of the top reviews is 5 stars. That never happens. I don't know a whole lot about it. One of the things you'll have to forgive is you're not going to get a synopsis until I'm further into it. The only thing I can give you is that this book is set in the late 80s about this girl whose uncle is a painter but then dies, question mark? Yes, turn the question mark into a period. But then at the funeral she meets this guy. I'm not quite sure where it goes from there other than like she meets someone at the funeral and maybe he helps her cope with grief and loss. I'm nervous. There's no way this is gonna be a bad book because like the amount of people who love this. It's kind of a principle for myself that I need to start a new book before I go to bed so that I feel like I've put in the effort so that the next day I can wake up and I have already started. Ooh, this was a gift from someone. Thank you, Nico. I don't know if you still watch me. This is from like 2019. Nico said, this book has been on my radar for a while. Let me know if it's good. Nico, 3 years later. Was that 3 years ago? Someone else do the math. This many years later, I will let you know if it's good. I need to emphasize that this is the tripod that I was using. The camera was on top of here. Hi, Meadow. I am laying in bed, and there's nothing I want more than to keep laying in bed. But I have like half an hour of daylight left, and I said I would go walk to the little free library that's down the road from me. Let's go do that. One thing about me, I hate going on a walk. This is the last thing I want to be doing right now. I'm not having fun. I'm tired already. My therapist and I have been talking a lot about exercise because I hate exercise. I'm like, I have to trick myself into exercising. I can't just decide to do it. Picking up the vlog camera to take you somewhere feels like a way to tricking myself to do something. I don't know which one of your reviewers lives in this neighborhood because an arc of Maggie's tea water. I told myself I wouldn't get anything unless I absolutely needed it, so I guess I absolutely needed it. So this is the book, I don't know if you could see it in the low lighting, that I got at the little free library next to me. I've heard no one talk about this, which I think is more a reflection of me being absent from the internet. This came out May of last year. Honestly, if it's not a retelling of Brave, I don't know what it is. I'll probably research this and see how the reviews were. Hi, do you want me to read this to you? Gordo, I'm so lonely. This is what isolation does to a human. So this was free, so I just grabbed it. Let me know if you had any thoughts on it. I got to chapter 6 of this book last night. The chapters are really short so far. I don't know if that's gonna continue. Oh, I'm flipping through. I don't know. Oh, it is. Yeah, all these chapters are pretty short. We love that. Having a page skip at the end of a chapter where there's like half a page of no text, it's like a little treat.
It's like a reward.
Because it's the 80s, it's set during the AIDS crisis, which is a whole other facet of this book that I wasn't expecting. Already, I can see how this is gonna be interesting. The character has an older sister that's like kind of rude to her, and then the mom has a strenuous relationship with her brother who's the uncle that dies. So I anticipate this is gonna have some family drama unfolding. So far, I really like the writing style. I've tabbed a couple of quotes. Another day, another walk. Again, in order to trick myself into doing something, I'm doing a chore. I need to walk to the grocery store and get some curry paste. I'm making like a split pea curry, and it required green curry paste, which I've never used. Also, I'm realizing this is the very hot option, so maybe I should have done the red curry paste. But this is the only recipe that I've ever heard of that uses green curry paste, so if you have any recommendations of things I can do with the rest of this, please let me know. Okay, dinner is done. I whipped up a quick boba, and now I'm gonna put on some Aesthetic Rain and continue with my book. I got 100 pages in last night, but I don't really have anything to update on because it's still like setting up what's gonna happen. I don't really know where it's going. Another day, another going to a coffee shop with Shelby. Do you want to revise your peace sign? Because you've done that in every clip. Oh, censored. I'm journaling. Hopefully I didn't talk shit about any of my friends. People are like, do a journal flip through. It's me being like, pee pee poo poo, I was in a bad mood this day. Do y'all like my journaling videos because they give you inspo, or did you just like to read what I wrote? Because I don't have trust in y'all anymore. I was like, no one will read it. I got so many Tumblr anons being like, were you mean to that little boy when you were 7? Because I would like write about a memory that they misinterpreted. So no, I'm not doing journaling videos.
You ruined it for yourself.
Yeah.
Soiled it.
Soiled it. No one knows I'm the most single and eligible person in this coffee shop. No one knows you're the most single and eligible person on all of BookTube. Just kidding, that's me. Hi, I'm single and eligible. In an attempt to get more lifestyle content, I'm gonna do a Trader Joe's haul. Let me intro this by saying, I have not been shopping at Trader Joe's, even though it is my prerogative as a white girl. The reason being, and I might get into this with more specificity in different vlogs, I have been struggling financially for a couple years. Walmart prices were doing it a little bit harder for me. So it's been a minute since I've like shopped at Trader Joe's. I'm feeling very fortunate to have Mr. Joe and his products back in my life. I can't go to the grocery store without getting bananas because they're good to eat fresh and they're good to freeze. Trail mix. And yes, it's the one with M&M's. Mind your business. These peach halves are always sold out. I finally found her. This is for recipes. This is my ultimate life hack, roasted red peppers in a jar. I hate buying fresh red peppers because they're like $1.50 each and then you have to cut them. No, I just buy this, put it in the fridge and use this as needed. And it's tastier because it's roasted. Onions, Honeycrisp apples. I tried a different kind of apple to save money earlier. No comparison. I love like the Fritos that have the elote seasoning on it, so picked those up. But I also needed just normal corn chips because I have a can of chili that I want to eat as Frito pie, so I got Fritos. Oh, this was an impulse purchase. A loaf of bread, flour tortillas. I've heard so many good things about these almond butter almonds, which I feel like is too much almond, but we'll see. And then I was really feeling nuts. Disgusting! Today, I guess, because I got another mixed nut spinach. I was wondering where these eggs went. Hopefully they're all good. Fresh fruit is a luxury, but I got blueberries. Making rotisserie chicken, so I got rosemary. Speaking of fresh fruit being a luxury, I got frozen fruit. I got cheddar cheese and mozzarella cheese. They didn't have just like Greek yogurt, but the raspberries and cream yogurt cup sounded good. Oh, and Meyer lemon. Throwback to college, the butternut squash ravioli. I ate this probably twice a week in college. Giving their vegetable samosas a try. And then some frozen shiitake mushroom chicken. Time to put this all away. As I do that, just wanted to update. I got like 250 pages into my book, so I have like 100 pages left. I feel like I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, it's not bad. It's an interesting book, but I'm like, why are we here? And I can sense what the author's trying to do. Like, there's certain character traits that I think are relatable, and I'm like, okay. I just really hope the last 100 pages like really drive home the emotion, because right now I'm just like, which I don't think my expectations were too high, because this is a book that I was like, I don't know. Even though all my friends loved it and rated it 5 stars, I was like, I'll just give it a try. And I feel like I'm a little let down. So it's like a 3-star right now. Nothing terrible, nothing amazingly impactful. Okay, I had some soup for dinner. I laid in bed and almost fell asleep. Hopefully in like an hour or 2, I can finish off the rest of my book. So I'm going to attempt to do that right now. And I think Sharpie wants to sit on my lap. Come here. There he is. It's past 11. Rosie needs cuddles. Girl, bye! Just kidding. I just finished Tell the Wolves I'm Home. It was fine. Like 3 stars, 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it because I've never read a book about the AIDS crisis before. I don't even know if calling it a crisis is even the right terminology for it anymore, but I mean, that part of it was interesting. There's a lot of emotional development between all the characters, and it's more of a family book. Like her immediate family, like her sister and her parents, more than it's about the uncle and the uncle's ex-boyfriend. I think the seed that runs throughout it is jealousy and envy of other relationships within the family, and everyone like feeling like they're being stepped on because other people are closer with other people. I just didn't really get it, and I don't think it's that the book was like too smart for me. I just don't think everything came together. Like, it was fine, but I was waiting and waiting and waiting to be wowed. Like, it all made sense. I enjoyed it, but just wasn't deeply invested. The one weird thing about the book is that the main character is like admitting that she was in love with the uncle, and another part of the book talks about how like all the different types of love there is, and it's not just like romantic and sexual and like lust. But it felt like such a weird plot point to drop in and then constantly bring up again about how she was like so ashamed because she was like in love with him and it was so wrong. What was the purpose of that? I was expecting this book to rip my heart out, and I didn't even cry once. I'm a little bit shocked because it is easy to make me cry. Like, there were a couple of times where I could feel myself being like, oh, this is getting sad, but then it would move on. I don't know. It just wasn't my favorite. I think I know what I'm gonna read next. I don't know which one of these is the 3rd book, but I want to read the 3rd book in the Bone Season series. I read books 1 and 2 off the recommendation of Bonnie. This is one of her favorite series. This series is still ongoing. It's like a 7-book series, and I'm really not loving reading series at this time in my life because it takes me so long to read them and then I forget everything that happens. So it's been about a month since I've read the last one, and I kind of don't remember that much. Me trying to do a synopsis of the Bone Season is gonna be difficult. Okay, it's set in a futuristic society. Clairvoyance exists. They have this like super strict regime of people trying to crack down. Oh, the magic, the clairvoyance, illegal. In book 1, she gets arrested. She actually is sent to this weird colony, and it turns out there are these mythical creatures that use humans as slaves for a purpose I have forgotten. but she gets assigned to this one guy. He's like helping her train her powers, and so it's about people who have these powers like starting to figure out that the whole government is like super duper corrupt, like basically every YA book ever. It's confusing, but like the writing is good. I'm not really down for the romance because it feels like there's no chemistry with the characters other than they're working toward the same goal. And it's one of those things where it's like she's 17 and he's 900. Anyway, after I just sat here and shit on this book for 10 minutes, I'm gonna be reading it next, I think. Okay, change of plans. I started the book, I got like 10 pages into it. I've decided I kind of just don't care anymore. I'm starting to get back into it and I'm like, who's these characters? What's this world? Do I even care where it ends up? And there's another book after this book that I kind of don't care about. Ready to move on. I don't know if I'll pick it up from the library in the future, but just kind of over it. So, I just want to read something easy, something fun. That, for me, comes in the form of this book that Bonnie also wants me to read, so I'm trading one Bonnie recommendation for another. The Bridge Kingdom.
Who you fighting?
I'm gonna try and explain this, and Bonnie can talk over me if I don't do it justice.
Like you think I remember anything.
Here's the problem with that. I actually have no idea what this is about, other than it's a girl who has to kill this prince, so she goes undercover in his kingdom. Obviously they end up falling in love instead, question mark?
She goes because of a treaty that they have, and she has to, like, marry him.
Marry him or bury him?
Well, both.
How many books is it, though? I know I just complained about a 7-book series.
2, and then there's, like, a spin-off.
A duology? Okay, I thought it was gonna be like 6 books. I feel like I just need a good enemies to lovers romance. Tell me his name's not Aaron. I don't even have a joke for that. That's how not funny that is. Now all of my reading clips are gonna be me being like...
Well, you have an actual Kindle.
So true, bestie. I do have an actual Kindle. Typical time to read 6 hours? I'm gonna beat it. Do I get a sex scene within 5 chapters?
Not a sex scene, but there's a sexy moment.
I'll take it. Also, her name being Lara, I am imagining her as a human personification of a Lara bar.
I thought you were gonna be like Lara Croft or something, but of course not.
That would have been a better comparison. It would have. Happy Friday. I have leftover soup in my book. And yes, I'm wearing the same shirt I went to sleep in. Mind your business. Oh, and I have blueberries. And a new email, apparently. Okay, I still got 30 minutes of my lunch break. I'm taking it to continue this book. And I'm only 7% in, but I have thoughts. You're gonna have to excuse that 90% of my vlogs are gonna be from my chair over here. My problem with this, I mean, let me recap the plot. Excuse me? This main character's a princess, and her kingdom is struggling because their neighboring kingdom is like the rich one that has all the imports and stuff, but they tax them and they have like really bad trade, so it's really hard to find resources. So the main character's kingdom is like destitute, while the neighboring kingdom is great and amazing. She's being married off to the king so that they can start to work together better, but what no one knows is that her father has been training her to be an assassin since she was 5, so she's really gonna kill them from the inside. My problem with it so far is the main character on the outside fits that bill. Like, she's an assassin, she's fearless, and she's talented, which she is. Inwardly, she's soft, which I feel like is less interesting to me. If it was done better, maybe I wouldn't be cringing at it, but the problem that I'm having is it feels very Disney princessy, where it's like, my kingdom is starving, and when I'm queen, I'm gonna fix everything, and everyone's gonna be happy, and there's like no nuance to it. I'm not enjoying this, but I'm getting nervous about how it's developing this character because I feel like she's just gonna be like an archetype of what badass female main character looks like. I can already see the resolution of this. Like, she's sent there to kill the guy and she falls in love with him. Like, we all know she's gonna get there and he's gonna tell her, like, actually your father is the one hoarding wealth. Like, this feels so predictable already. I'm just hoping the romance is angsty because I have discovered 7% in that I'm not here for the plot. I don't care about her kingdom. I don't care about wealth. I don't care about trade. I'm looking for some enemies to lovers forced proximity, and that's about it. I'm sorry. I'm just on FaceTime with Bonnie right now, and I need you to understand this about me as a person. Scrolling Amazon, looking at depraved smut and the ad I'm getting is for diarrhea medication. Amazon has never clocked me more accurately in my entire life. Hello. I guarantee that you can hear my washer in the background going absolutely crazy. It's been like a week and I've finished my book. So while I finish my makeup, I'm gonna tell you about it. I finished The Bridge Kingdom and it was fine. Like, I'm gonna give it 3 stars. It definitely scratched the itch, itched the scratch. Whatever. For what I was craving, which was just like a quick, angsty, easy. I am not the kind of person to predict a... Why did that scare me? I am not the kind of person to predict a book. Honestly, I should be reading mysteries because the way that a red herring could lead me into a neighboring country, like, I'm so gullible. But this book, you could hear the synopsis and be like, oh, it's gonna be like that. There were some climactic moments that were supposed to hit really hard that didn't. Because I was like, well, duh. I wish there was a lot more originality. That's what this book was really lacking for me. Because I liked the characters. The world building, I will say, is probably the most original thing about it. I enjoyed like the tropical island setting. But when we got to like the actual romance, we just had like trope soup. It would be like nightmare scene, back to back with who did this to you scene. It just didn't feel genuine. Like in moments like that, I could just see the writer being like, what would the audience enjoy? When I was like halfway through the book, I was like, oh my god, I'm loving this. I'm probably gonna immediately read the next one. But the ending was so cliche and like really not shocking to me that I'm not obsessed with it as much as I thought it would be. I thought it would be like a 4-star. I lowered it to a 3. It really just didn't wow me in the end. I think I'll still read the sequel. I believe it's only a duology like Bonnie said. So, I don't know. Have y'all read that book? Did you think it was amazing? I can't decide if I'm just so critical now of books that I literally am capable of enjoying myself or if it just wasn't that great. After that, also in the vein of things that Bonnie recommended me, Catherine Moon has a new book. And this has to be the time that we have the Catherine Moon conversation. If you haven't heard the name Catherine Moon, I'm about to introduce you to a new world. I actually forgot to mention her in my favorite books video. One of my favorite series of last year that I only have on Kindle, so I forgot to mention it, is the, I forget what the series title is, but the first one is The Lady of Rooksgrave Manor. They're all like monster reverse harem romances. And we're gonna get into the topic of me and my monster romance phase. Something that you think would be so creepy and gross and unable to relate to is so interesting and so well done. There's something about putting a horny bitch in a situation that would never happen in the real world that's just like... Catherine Moon has a new book that came out called Games with the Orc. I'm not big into orcs. Something about tusks is not that appealing to me, but Bonnie was like, it's really good, you should give it a try. Almost immediately after I finished The Bridge Kingdom, I downloaded this with all the Amazon credits I got from Christmas shopping, and I read it in like 2 sittings. It's about this woman who breaks up with this like average guy. His name was Harry, which felt kind of targeted. But after she breaks up with him, she's like, I've always had these fantasies of like being submissive. It's a world where there's non-human, so she's like, I've always wanted to be with one of them and like just be controlled and like beat all the BDSM kinks. And so in this world, it's also legal to do sex work, so she like hires a guy for 5 days to play out all those fantasies with her. So the whole baseline of it is like she asks for it. There's like contracts and stuff putting together all her boundaries, so it's like done really thoughtfully. And then the guy is like 7 feet tall and green and sexy. What can I say? I loved it. This book was originally released chapter by chapter on Patreon, and I would not have survived consuming it that way because I was turning pages. It is so horny. I think we have the first sex scene in like chapter 3, and then the whole first 75% of the book is just inundated. If you need a distraction, you need to download her. Even once it got to the parts where there was like more plot, typically I'm like, skip, who cares, back to the good stuff. I feel like I could have read a longer book. Like I was entranced, even when it wasn't about sex. So I think that's a hallmark that it did a great job. I gave this 4 stars in the end, probably more of like a 4.5, but I feel like I can't give something like this 5 stars. It didn't change or reshape my life. It was just really fun. I mean, what am I forgetting to say? It's a plus size main character. Catherine Moon's writing is really good. Like, I just am gonna read everything she's ever published because she is amazing. And she writes so fast. She has like 2 or 3 books coming out this year. So, Catherine Moon. If you haven't read her, go read her. If you're into stuff like this. If you're not, stay away. That is the end of this vlog. Thank you for joining. I say as I'm like still applying my face. I will see you around the internet, and if I don't, I will see you next time for sure. Bye everyone.